Just gonna check that. And we are live. Good afternoon. Go ahead.
Hey, how are you, Robin?
I'm doing well. It's a beautiful fall day. This is my favorite season. I have a favorite tree in the neighborhood that I say hello to every day because it gives and gives and gives. It's just a beautiful time of year. And I hope that we all get some fresh air.
Ma'am, yes, ma'am. I was just thinking that, I got out a little bit earlier today because I'm trying to have a sense of normalcy and
Mm-hmm.
energetics. So I was like, okay, fresh
Mm-hmm.
air usually makes me feel better. And I went out, I'm like, it is so beautiful
Gorgeous
today. And
out.
in Michigan, it feels like we only have two seasons, hot and cold, and it's like
Right.
fall for like for like 2 weeks.
I
But I
know.
and I just looked around. I'm like, the trees are beautiful. I love looking at the foliage, and it was just like, wow, the colors are so beautiful, and you know,
Yes.
berries, kind of everywhere. The autumn berries and crab apples, and I'm just
Love
like
it.
that. Yeah,
Love it all. Like I'm looking outside my window right now and like I said, this is my favorite time of the year, and I'm already scouting some apple orchards to go to, and
hmm
ones where we can be safe and just get some fresh air and get out into nature and
that's right.
kind of reconnect.
That's right. That's right. And so I think reconnection is super important.
Mm-hmm.
Releasing is super important this
Yes.
time of year. So yeah, so I'm super excited to be doing this with you, Robin, and supporting us, supporting our program, the Power of Girlhood, International Day of the Girl. So today's like the
Yes.
official day of the International Day of the Girl, and it just means so much to have Motor City Woman, championing us, being
Of
part of the
course.
celebration, and
Of course.
acknowledging these amazing, young women and women-led organizations that are impacting our neighborhood, our community, and I would dare say our world.
Yes, definitely. It is celebrating International Day of the Girl. But first of all, it was first brought to my attention through Power of Girlhood, and through you and all the work that's being done across the world on the International Day of the Girl. But also having daughters myself, knowing the premise of the Day of the Girl being to applaud our girls and champion them, and we don't give enough energy and focus on when our young people are doing something right.
hmm
And so that's why I'm honored that you asked Motor City Woman to be part of this, because this is right up our alley, and part of the tenets of why Motor City Woman was created was to shine a light on things that are good.
That's right.
There's enough space for those that are being bad. Let's shine a light on what's good.
Mm, that is so important, Robin, when you say, shine a light on what's good. And I mean, we can hear on, the news cycles, and it's not that we don't need to be, aware of what's going
Right.
on in the world, but we have to temper it with possibility and
Yes.
hope and vision. And, working with, girls like your daughter's age, all the way up to the girls at heart, it really does give you a sense of faith restored in where humanity is headed when you look at their abilities and what they've
Yes.
accomplished, and wide-eyed enthusiasm.
Yes. Yes. And also, and you and I have talked about this before, this Gen Z,
Oh
they are unapologetic. I know people use that word sometimes carelessly, but Gen Z, they don't care how it was done before. If it's
yeah.
wrong, they're going to tell you to your face. Not only that it's wrong, but also they're going to put the work into making it right. It's like they have zero fear.
Yeah.
And this is the generation we've been waiting for.
Yeah, they are absolutely um, fearless. And yes, they speak from the heart,
Mm-hmm.
and they do have a huge level of empathy.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they have a
Yes.
huge level of empathy. They're super wise. And that's what I've
Yes.
noticed too, that they're very wise, and they care about where humanity is going.
Yes.
So I am just super excited and thrilled, Robin, to be doing this with you today, to also highlight some of these amazing young women in our community who are doing just amazing things. Like we have Sierra Murden
Yes.
today, who is graduating from MSU.
Yay. Okay.
Yes.
That
uh,
was Spartan.
Fellow Spartan. Okay. Okay. Well, I went to Wayne, so
Well, still, that's good. Fellow Detroiter.
yeah. Okay.
I'll
Yeah.
do both.
You did okay. You did both. Yep. So I know a lot of people do their undergrad work at MSU and then go to Wayne for their masters. So yep.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tag team and Nubuntu and her sister Fanta, who are doing great
Yes.
work. Yes, I'm just like, come through and Black girl.
Yes.
Yes, honey. So it's like it's inspiring, to see, especially in this season right now. If you're doing any kind of scholastic endeavor, community service in this in this
Yes.
pandemic, um, I definitely say my hat's off to you to be, it's really inspiring. Yeah, to watch, all of that and watch
Mm-hmm.
them and be inspired by them
Mm-hmm.
and their work.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I really love the work that Power of Girlhood is doing to make sure that they know that doing good will also get this type of recognition. Because I think in a lot of cases, what we see on social media and like you reference on the news is about what's wrong, what went wrong, and all this tragedy. But knowing that there's organizations like the Power of Girlhood that are connecting these young women to other women so they can learn, but also to resources so they can grow and kind of cultivate what's already in them is so needed.
Yeah, and I'm really moved that you recognize that, because that is our endeavor. Don't want to project our. Sometimes I think as adult women, woulda, coulda, shoulda gets projected onto our girls. So like whatever we
Yes.
didn't live out,
Yes.
we see a version of ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
and then we want to project onto that version, possibility or regret or things like that. But it's like they're their own person.
Right. Right. And that's really hard as a mom myself. Um, I really want one of my kids to be a doctor. Okay.
Okay.
Because we need more people of color in the medical field.
We
And
do.
that's what I want. So I keep steering. And so there's a balance there. So I'm hearing you of like, yes, I want you to be your true, authentic self.
Can you be a doctor while you being your true authentic?
Right. How can and one thing that I learned when they were really young was to stop asking them what they wanted to be when they grew up. I mean, to stop asking them what they wanted to do when they grew up, but at starting to ask them, like, how did they want to serve? How do you want to serve? How do you see yourself showing up to serve? Because you can serve in so many different types of ways, through art, through music, so many things. So planting that seed and changing that narrative of I have to do something, I have to fit into an occupation versus creating something. This is how I'm choosing to serve in this life, and then kind of letting them walk through that path is
Absolutely.
but I would love for one of them to be a doctor. I say all that and then I say
I still want her to be a doctor.
We just need more people of color in the medical field. And I'm like, oh.
Oh yes, I mean that goes with definitely without saying, but to center that for it, because I know you have a wide cross section of people who tune in. We need to maybe bring some reality in. So one of the reasons why we definitely for sure need to have more medical professionals of color is the whole patient advocacy pieces
Yes.
and diagnoses, and to understand that, still in 2020, African American women still have the highest infant
Yes.
mortality rate, and that goes age, social economics. Black women can still have a PhD and
Yes.
still have a higher infant mortality rate.
Yes.
And that is just so sad to me. And even the treatment, there's been surveys done that, yeah, I love that. We don't say what makes you happy and why do you like or love this. I love
Mm-hmm.
that comment from Carla Document. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, that is so amazing. So it is important, going back to why we need more medical professionals and still the taboo when it comes to our mental health.
Yes. All of that.
Yeah. So I get it. I get it. And Miss Sierra actually, that is one of her desires, is that she wants to go to graduate school on the accelerated track to receive her PhD in
All right.
childhood and youth
Are we ready to
development.
bring Sierra
Yes,
on?
we are ready to put her on.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi, Sierra.
Hi.
Hey, beautiful. Oh my goodness. So, okay, so I'm trying not to, I'm gonna hold it together.
I know.
Trying to hold it together because Sierra's, so it's like all three of it's three of them in total, and I know you all have a brother too, but the three girls, you, Talea, and your baby, like, okay, so they all belong to me, and it is just so amazing to watch, Sierra come into her own right and her own power. So I'm going to read her amazing bio so we know exactly who we are talking to on today. Amen. So Sierra Murden
Sweet.
is a graduating senior of MSU. She is studying human development and family studies with a minor in youth and society. She is greatly involved in her community as she is the fundraising chair and a immunity service chair for Delta Zeta chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. She is a community liaison and secretary on campus for on campus ministry. Hallelujah, holla back. Okay, part of the Seekers Ministry. She is the parliamentarian for her dance team, Royal Dance Movement, and the founder and president of Black Girl MSU.
Yeah.
Her yes, and her goals, plural, her goals are to transform the lives of Black children from the urban neighborhood by creating safe spaces and opportunities for free expression. And after graduation in May, yes, we did say this, yes, May 2021,
Yes.
she will be pursuing an accelerated track to receive her PhD in childhood and youth development. Go on, Miss Sierra.
Yes. Well,
We are
hi.
hey. So, on behalf of the Power of Girlhood for the International Day of the Girl and the Motor City Woman Network, we want to honor you, see you, congratulate you, and introduce the world, present to some and introduce to others, Miss Sierra Murden. So just get it, honey. Just get it.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
Yes,
So
Love
sweet.
to
yes.
see it.
Yes, yes. So I'm going to start with our first question. And Robin, of course, you feel free to jump in with any
Sure.
questions that you have too. Sierra, who and what inspired you? Because these are some serious goals. These are not just goals, these are necessaries for upliftment of our community, for uplifting of our people. And it is by no stretch of the imagination a cakewalk. I already know you know this. But who and what has inspired you to take up this mantle?
Honestly, my sister, Talea. Um, the Miss Talea Bates. My sister is a huge influence on me. Growing up, I was always Talea's bad younger sister. So people always want to misjudge us. They want to say that we're bad. They want to say that we're a problem. They want to call us rebellious, but do we know why? why is this child acting this way? Why is she rebellious?
Mm,
Why is she
mm,
bad? Why is she causing this trouble? And a lot of people didn't ask me why. They just saw,
mm,
they just always saw Talea's younger sister getting in trouble. But in reality, Talea's younger sister, Sierra, because that's my name, not Talea's younger sister.
come
My
on.
name is Sierra. Sierra was always getting compared, and people put me in this box and expected me to act a certain way, and I lost myself, and I thought that I was supposed to act a certain way, and that's why it was not working for me. That's why I was acting out, or that's why I was always angry, because no one was letting me be me. I was being what people expected me to be. And once I joined this organization called Teen Hype when I was in high school, is when I found myself. It's a performing arts group. We also do community service. We did shows for all of the children in Detroit. You know, millionaires come out and see our shows. So when I joined this program, I was like, now I know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be helping people. I went through all of these trials and tribulations and these tests so I can share my testimony.
Mm,
Everything happens for a reason. God put me in all of those situations for a reason. All those trips to the principal office, all those times they had to call my mom, all of those arguments, it led me and it built me up to be what I need to be today. I need to help people. I need to help the Black kids get through this, because we're always seemed as being angry. We're always seemed as being troublemakers. But has anybody took the time out to see why are we acting this way? People always want to see the result, but not how somebody got there. And I know that
mm,
a lot of people, they didn't want to listen to me. So I want to create spaces where the youth, we have to listen to them, like, not trying to be disrespectful, don't want to be rude, but your voice needs to be heard, because my voice was silent for way too long, and we are too powerful and we have too much instilled in us to be boxed in. So I want to create a space to let that out creatively, whether that's writing, singing, dancing, poetry, anything. But we cannot let those emotions, stay in, because when they stay in, when they come out, it's going to be bad. So I just want to create a safe space, because mental health is real. And in the Black community, sometimes adults believe you a child, what do you got to worry about? You're not depressed about nothing. But that's not true. So I always want to remember that it's kids like me who didn't have a voice and who needed someone to be the voice so they can find their voice. So that's what inspired me.
oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. So I'm over here fanning my eyeball. So Robin, if you want to ask the next question, because I'm I'm trying to.
Oh my gosh. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I know you said that it was your sister who really inspired you. Um, how do you think for other young women your age, what tools are needed, or what do we as the older generation, what do we need to know to help you navigate? Because it seems like that's what it sounds like from hearing you, that you were able to look up to your sister and kind of forge that path. And it looks, you have a very clear sense of self, but that's not the case for a lot of young people. So what do we as the older generation need to know or need to provide to really help you to navigate that journey?
The number one thing that I can say is listening.
Mm,
Listening to understand and not listening to respond.
okay.
Um, that's really the main thing that I see is the issue. I feel like everything, like, it starts with communication and comprehension. We need to make sure that we comprehending what what they're telling us, because people can hear things, you can say things all day long, but it can go on one ear out the other. Are you understanding what I'm saying? Do you understand how I feel? Do you know why I made the decisions that I made? So the main thing from the older generation is just listening and understanding and not judging. Sometimes people just want to just say things just to get it off their chest. They don't need a response, they don't need advice, they just simply need someone to just listen and say, I understand where you're coming from. I'm listening to you. And that will just go a long way. It helped me because I'm a very defensive person. So whenever I would try to express myself, and some people will try to come back and give me advice or say, well, you should have did this different, but I didn't. So now how can I move on? Now what are we going to do? Now are you listening to me? I didn't thank you for your advice. Thank you for the response, but that's not what I need right now. We need to just make sure that we all pay attention to what someone needs in that moment and not what you think they need, because what you think they need and what they actually need can be two different things. So just really just listening and understanding.
I think listening to you, I don't know how many adult women are even that self-aware, because that subtle difference between listening, hearing, and waiting to speak, like that's a huge, and that takes a lot of self-awareness, and to be able to advocate for yourself. And personally, so I used to be a teacher, high school teacher, and the student that I love the ones that they call bad, because
Mm.
the bad ones that they put the label bad on, make the best advocates, make the best truth teller. They will keep it 100 with you all day, every day. And it always felt like to me they just needed something to do. Like you just need something. Let's put something in your hands
Mm-hmm.
because you need something to do and to take that passion. It's like, have you ever thought about being a lawyer? Have you ever thought about being an advocate? What about, since you mighty almighty and tongue everlasting, let's let you get into some legislation so you can do a filibuster, because you will never shut up and then pairing you with what you're passionate about. So it's like it's not bad. It's just different.
Mm-hmm.
But that layers, those pulling those layers back, some people are not gonna work that hard to get to see you, but to listen to you, like you are. But I just can't wait to see the full range of your advocacy and your full range of your own personhood, blending like that creativity and how you are just showing up in your own way. You're not Talea's little sister. You are Sierra, your own full, express, different person, and that's okay. Like
Yes.
both can exist. That is just so
Yes, and
amazing
that's
to
what I
me.
have to learn. It's okay being Talea's little sister, because my sister is amazing. She's an amazing role model. She's an amazing sister, an amazing person. So I have to remember it's okay for people to know that you're Talea's little sister, but make sure that they also know who Sierra is.
I love this. Oh my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. So I guess my last question to you is this. We're definitely in a season of difference. This
Mm-hmm.
whole pandemic has got us operating and being a lot different. What's some of your advice right now for those young people who may be coping with anxiety and depression, and the inability to kind of like socialize maybe in the ways that we're used to? What's some of your advice to help one the students to navigate this space? And because you're so articulate about your emotions and the state of being, what are some things that, like myself and parents, what are some of those things that we can do, or things that we should be looking out for
Mm-hmm.
in our students and our young people, and particularly our girls?
Mm-hmm. Okay, so for students, in this time, have a journal, have a piece of paper, have a booklet, have something. Write down whenever you feel tense, whenever you feel anxiety, and go back and think about what triggered that. If you can find your triggers, then you can identify your problem. Have a confessions list. I say confessions every morning when I wake up and every night before I go to sleep. Confess things that you want to happen in your life. Some people call it manifestation. I'll call it prayer. Pray for things manifest things, confess things over your life, and don't confess it saying this will happen to me. Lord, I'm praying for a new car, saying, Lord, I thank you for my new car. Or I don't know how spiritual, everyone is. I don't know everyone's, religious track, but I'm going to talk about my God. Okay. And that's what works for me. And I've seen what have worked for other people. So just confess things. Thank you for my new car. Lord, thank you for my new car. Lord, thank you for my 4.0 that I'm going to receive in geometry. You got to be specific. So again, saying your confessions, saying, what you are thankful for, because it's already yours. You already claiming it. It's already in your hands. God is just, waiting for you to just come and accept it. It's already there. You already have it. So thank God for whatever you're about to receive, because again, it's coming your way. And write down, those uncomfortable and negative emotions that you have. I don't want to call them bad emotions, because nothing is bad. Everything happened for a reason. It's just different. So write down your different emotions. Write about what you were doing before you had that emotion, so you can identify what's going on. And just remain calm. And just remember that everything happened for a reason. Every person comes around for a reason. Every situation that you're in is for a reason. God makes no mistakes. No mistakes. So when you're trying to question and say, well, why is this happening? Why do I feel like this? Just know something bigger is coming. The enemy always tries to knock us off our square when it's a major blessing coming our way. Try to think about how many times I've been knocked down almost every day, because I'm one of God's favorites. Okay. I'm always being blessed. So just just try to remember, and just try to think about, why am I feeling this way? We always want to, again, think about what's happening in that moment, but we need to, backstep. Let's trace back what just happened in these last few moments. And then for the parents and for the adults, I feel like this is a really good time to just observe. Observe what's going on. Observe your students. Observe your children, and just take a mental note. That way you can start paying attention to some of their mannerisms. You can start paying attention to how they get before certain emotions come on. And then again, listening. That's just like the biggest thing. Listening can go a long way, and everything else will follow after that. Because when you start listening and start understanding, then more situations will become easier to you. More things that you were uncomfortable about or uncomfortable with will start feeling more comfortable, because you already communicated on why you feel certain things, or why you feel the way that you feel sometimes. So I know that, this pandemic and everything's changing. School is online. Some people may not have the financial resources that they had before, but again, everything happened for a reason. So there's no need to worry, no need to panic. Write everything down, say your confessions, and state what you already have, because it's already yours.
Okay.
Come on, be specific.
Right. 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 I'm like, come through like what the scripture tells us. Oh, woo, it's a finished work. She said it is a finished work. So this is funny. So everyone listening, so Robin and I literally had a conversation about manifestation. Like literally. Like my mind is like, we just talked about the power of our words, speaking it, and sometimes not having conversations with certain people because their vision just isn't
Mm-hmm.
quite there. And so monitoring who we're in conversation with, who is holding
Yes.
our babies, like holding our dreams and our aspirations and our girls, and understanding you deserve that new car. You deserve the dream. You deserve the point out. Like you are worthy of this. And you make these declarations, you declare it over your life first thing in the morning and the last thing at night when our subconscious mind is most receptive thing. I'm like, look, I'm about to start throwing things because it's just got over here and preaching the whole word like collection plate on Motor City, living a virtual plate because I'm ready for the doors to like open. Is there one today? because you have given us like a whole a whole word, a whole mood, a whole a whole vibe, like just the whole everything. I'm like, yes, honey. So I mean, I would be remiss if we didn't talk about your parents and those who like poured into your life. You mentioned teen hype. Um, I'm seriously gonna get emotional because like in our early days, a lot of people may not know, but teen hype was like on teen girlhood like day one. So shout out to Amber Rodriguez, out Big Red.
Yep.
Love her. Yep.
Miss
Shout
Red.
out to Big Red. Big Red, come on, all day, every day. Um, who does such amazing work with teen hype because the plays that you all put on, the dance performances, the music. I mean, it's
Yes.
amazing to see what you all do and have done, and especially when we pull back the backstory, right? Because not every child has the two-parent home, and
Mm-hmm.
not everybody has parents that are working and involved, you know, in their lives. And then you have a program like Teen Hype that really does come in and fills out everything.
Everything.
So I mean, she's like, I don't know how she does it.
Yeah, they are truly a blessing from God. Like the whole entire staff, Miss Red, I can talk about her all day. Mrs.
Me too.
Hudson, yeah, and my mom, she just loves them. And then my little sister Kayla, you can't join Teen Hype until you're in high school. Kayla been counting down the days. Like, you gonna join soon. You can join soon. But yes, I just can't put into words how much of an impact they have on the youth and on the city of Detroit. And they do things indirectly, like how do I explain it? So like the plays, we always talk about real life issues that's going on with the children, but also behind the scenes when we're rehearsing for the plays, we also have times where people will come in to talk about what we're talking about during the play, so we can see that people
Hmm.
have those real life experiences. And I actually met like my closest friends that I'm still friends with to this day. We all live in the same city. We all met in Teen Hype. I met my boyfriend in Teen Hype. We've been together for 4.5 years. Yeah, so
Wait a minute, this boyfriend. Like, hold on. Yeah, we gonna have to talk offline about this boyfriend. I need to hear more about this. Boy, she got a boy. Was she old enough to have a boyfriend? Boyfriend 4 years? What? How? Okay, so we'll put a pin there. We'll come back to that later, madam. But do go on.
but yes, they like they help me with my attitude. They help me how to communicate my anger and see where it was coming from and how to fix it. We did community service. We was able to talk and help kids with safe sexual encounters, because that's also something that's not talked about a lot. Just being advocates in our community for our youth while we're still youth. So Teen Hype, they get all the snaps and claps in the world. I just love them.
For real, for real, and I do too. And it's they're one of those organizations, and I'm not gonna belabor this, but like seriously, it's one of those organizations. Like they're not just there for photo ops. Like they're there in the thick of like, the emotions. They're there when things come up. They're there for the families. Like they take like the whole student, like everything that you come with. they
Mm-hmm.
they come in and take it up too. So I just can't say enough about that organization. And you can definitely, see it in you, seeing that whole village. Like we watch everything from, your in your home, obviously your parents, but just also the entrustment of like community of them and now you turning back into pouring into community. So I don't know, Robin, I don't know if you have any more slots for a show, but I'm saying, madam, right here, my knee.
I always have room for shows that make connections and that will inspire people, and especially for the younger generation. Especially because what I'm hearing is that no one is listening. No one is listening as far as the older generation isn't listening. And I would love to be part to make that connection of the two generations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. An intergenerational dialogue is so, we can't have enough of those. We just
Mm-hmm.
cannot have enough of those. Those are so needed. And, you know, as coming into, I just turned 40, like there's still things that I don't know. Yeah, I'm in the club. There's still things that I don't know, or things that I'm still like rediscovering. So I need, you know, that next leg, that baton. Please pass me the baton, like, or run with me as
Mm-hmm.
I'm as opponent. Well, if you're not running with me, hand me a towel. Can we sit down over here? Can we take a break together? You know, just to fit this whole complexity of this thing called womanhood. So I'm just, again, just so grateful, you know, to you being in the world, doing the work that you're doing, sis. Like anything that I can do, I know anything that Robin can do to support you. We love you, and just know that we recognize the work that you're doing. Yes, honey. And so please, you know, repost this so that your friends know, people can see. And I think, again, like, you know, Robin, you were saying earlier about narrative, like how important it is to uplift narrative. And, you know, when we think of Black bodies, Black, you know, women, especially, we see so much of the sapphire, spitfire kind of identity. And it's so beautiful to see, you know, yes, I'm powerful and strong. I have a voice, but also like this vulnerability and this ability to articulate so wonderfully, regardless of age, how you feel. Like, don't project that onto me. Like, that's your stuff. Like, you're not listening. Hello, Linda. You're not listening. But you are not listening to me. Listen to what I'm saying, and you're just holding this space just so beautifully, Sierra. So
Thank
just
you.
just yes, honey. So on behalf of the Power of Girlhood, International Day of the Girl, just know we see you and we want to continue to uplift you. So you got my, text me, inbox me, let me know. Our families are joined at the hip. Your mom
Mm-hmm.
got me snatched over here. So shout out to TLC.
Yes, we love her to TLC.
Yes, honey, for getting for getting your girl snatched and all of that. Um, but I'm just so happy, you know, to continue to watch you bloom and come into your own person. And we just love you.
Thank you. I love this, and I love you all too. And I really, really, really appreciate this. Again, I will reach out if I need anything. I'm always, always honored to be a part of things like this. This is my mission. This is what I was destined to do, and I'm very, very passionate about what I do, and I'm very passionate about helping and serving my community and every way that I can, reaching, teaching, and uplifting. So thank you. Thank
We
you.
Yes, yes, no, thank you. We love you. We honor you. Um, this is why we do. You're the reason why we do what we do, and I just couldn't imagine, you know, honoring anyone else in this way. We have, you know, you're just blazing a trail, and I'm again grateful to Robin for even yielding the space to amplify your amazing voice and the amazing young women that we have you know, on here today. But especially thank you so much to you, Sierra. We love you,
Thank you.
and just know that yep, anything you need, we got you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. So please know this name, ladies and gentlemen. We have more young women that we're going to be honoring today, but please remember the name Sierra Murden. Where can we find you? Where do you hang out? Are you on Instagram, TikTok? Where can we find you?
Yes, I am on Instagram and Twitter. My Instagram is amir.c, which is AIMER.CE. And my name on Twitter is underscore GORG, the letter N, and then PETITE.
Okay, so you're gonna have to drop that in a text or a chat so I can repost it, because I'm like,
Yeah.
it was like underscore lowercase
Yeah.
hyphen with the okay MC okay with okay, yeah, all that. So go ahead and drop drop that in drop that in a text for me so I can share that on our feed because I did start a watch party. So I want to shout out everybody. We got Frank Sinclair, we got Ozzy Rivera, hola Ozzy, we got Vanessa, Marissa Hernandez, Linda Garcia Orr, Louis Kincaid. We got some people, Mike E. Hey Mike E, Kalima Lock Mama Johnson. So I just want to shout out everybody who is watching us right now on the watch party. So yes, please drop that information so that we can stay in touch with you and keep amplifying your work.
Okay, I will.
All right, sweets. Love you.
Love you too. Thank you so much. Mwah,
mwah. Yeah, I love you so much. Thank you so much for joining us here.
Oh my goodness. The future is bright. That's all I have to say. I was like, all right, y'all.
Right, Robin.
You better let them know.
I'm like, where are my edges? Are they? Can you find my edges?
That would be specific. I love it. But when you were talking about the wisdom that these young people have, where it's like, gosh, I was in my 30s when I learned that.
Seriously, like her articulation of who she is, how she's interacting with other people. I would have never.
No. I was clueless at that. It was just like, but everything is so connected now, and with the internet and everything, and they see that what the kind of the domino effect of one thing affects another thing. Okay, so I need to be engaged here because then that affects this and that affects this. So I think that's why they were just more aware.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see Brittany too. I see Brittany in our waiting room.
Okay, wonderful. So we can get
you wanna
we can bring Brittany on.
Let's bring Brittany on. Brittany!
Two of my faves.
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, Brittany.
Hi,
Brittany, how have I known you? I don't know.
We met when you were at Seed and I was at Focus Hope, so that was at least 7 years ago.
Wow. Okay. As I say, someone has been in your life so long, you're like, how do we even met? I don't know.
Yeah, the older you get, when did we meet?
Like you just been a part of my life. I'm so proud of Brittany. I've seen Brittany's story just soar.
Thank you.
For real.
Thank you.
Like,
and you guys both played a role in that. Robin was one of my very first customer discovery interviews. I was like, you have daughters. What do you think of this idea? And she was like, yeah, girl. And I was like, well, Robin, can I be behind the scenes? Because I don't really want to be out like that. And she was like, no.
You didn't get the luxury of stepping back. And it's so funny. You think that, I started the business. Like, I just want to be kind of behind the scenes. And it's like,
I don't need all that. I don't need the IG fame. Like, I really don't.
Stop it.
I was trying to be behind the scenes. Robin was like, yeah, girl, no. But she was right. Right.
And just watching you just come into let's just for a minute, let's just have a wee chat about how Queen Bee said Black girls need this subscription box. Like, can we just just for a moment?
Oh Lord.
As a kid, you got receipts.
We have a few. We got
receipts.
We have a few. Queen Bee on her site for a little while, along with other amazing Detroit businesses, amongst the host of amazing Black-owned businesses. But it was a few of us from Detroit on there, so that was very exciting.
Yes, there were. I think my brown box was featured on that as well. But I
Detroit is
just
a
think
new
that it's
black.
Detroit is a new black. Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it's just
Yeah.
amazing to, see you, witness you, and you doing what you do from the heart space.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's
So yeah. So Miss Brittany, I just want you to walk us through, because we understand why things like Black Girl Magic are necessary. But if you could kind of
mhm.
walk us through the aha moment that your
Mhm.
contribution was going to be in the form of a math-based monthly subscription box for Black girls. Come on, promo.
It's shipping week. So my husband literally just took a whole bunch of boxes to the post office, the one on 4th Street, because they're open on Sundays. So it's like a few left. My mom and I are going to be running to the post office soon. So for me, it's really been a series of aha moments that just culminated at one point, and I'm still trying to pinpoint exactly when that happened. But I will say, so I've been a lover of math since I was a little girl growing up going to Detroit public schools, and really DPS helped foster my love for mathematics. My freshman year of Renaissance, my algebra 1 teacher was like, you seem to really like this. You want to take 2 math classes next year instead of 1? And I was like, yeah, girl. So I had, that was algebra 2, which was the class she recommended me for, which typically wasn't taken until 11th grade, but I took geometry and algebra 2 in 10th grade. And then by the time I got to my senior year, I was in AP calculus. So I have just always enjoyed math. It's just always been my favorite subject. And I started tutoring at Spelman, which is where I did my undergrad in mathematics. And fast forward, when I moved back home to Detroit in 2012, it was kind of like no matter what I was doing full time, tutoring was my side hustle. It was kind of like my passion and the thing I got to do on the side. I started tutoring at the downtown boxing gym in 2016. I'm still there. And I believe that is where the beginning of the culmination of the aha moment started. Because before that, I was just, not just, but primarily one-on-one tutor in home, working with one student at a time. But at the boxing gym, some days I had 8 kids working on 8 different things, or, a 3rd grader doing this, an 11th grader doing that, an 8th grader doing that. But there was this pattern that I noticed very quickly. And I was able to see it because, as you guys know, the kids at the boxing gym, we serve kids from all over the Metro Detroit area, all different grades, all different schools. So it's not like it was just one school I was seeing this. I was seeing this across the board. And that was that the older kids, especially, so middle and high school, when they would come to me with asking for help with like geometry or algebra or some of these other higher level courses, it really wasn't geometry, algebra that they were getting hung up on. It was basic mathematics. So it was like fractions and decimals and negative numbers. So all the stuff that they were introduced to around late elementary through middle school that they had not mastered, it made everything else just feel so hard. Everything else, it was like throw the whole subject away. Like this is ridiculous. And I was really kind of trying to sit with that because I was like, I wanted to do something more. I wanted to be able to impact more children because I knew this wasn't just a Detroit issue. This is like a global phenomenon, right? Math anxiety, people being proud to say they're not a math person. It's people banding together to not calculate the bill at the restaurant. It's pervasive in our community. And my mom is over here laughing because she having some flashbacks. So and she is a retired Detroit principal, so she's always just instilled this love in it for education in me. And so I was looking at the subscription box landscape because my husband introduced me to the subscription box world when we first met, because he had the Hello Fresh and he had the Blue Apron, and this was 2014. I was like, what are these? Like, they just send you food and all you got to do is cook it. So I was already in love with the model. So 4 years later in 2018, I was looking at subscription boxes and I was like, oh, we got STEM subscription boxes and we got coding boxes and we got engineering boxes and we got science boxes. But I was like, gee, I don't really see any math boxes. And so that was basically, I was like, here's an opportunity, because math is the foundation of STEM. So if our goal is to get our kids so excited about engineering and science and coding and all of these things that they end up majoring in it in college, they are going to be in for a rude awakening if they don't know how much math they have to do to be successful in any STEM major. Most sciences all science is full of math. So I was like, I'm going to do a math box, but what is it going to be? And I was thinking about my interactions with my girl students, and how more often, not that I wasn't hearing this from my boys, but more often with my girls, it was like, it was, the confidence was really low. The math identity was low. They didn't even see themselves as learners and doers of mathematics. Something boys do, or mommy says she wasn't good at it, so I don't got to be good at it. So it's all these different messages, these negative messages were coming in from many different angles. And mommy, of course, had great intentions by saying that, trying to offer some compassion, but that language can actually be detrimental to girls. They can internalize that. So I was looking at my girls, and then I started doing research. I started reading scientific articles and journals and studies. And I was reading a lot about the gender gap in STEM, and I was reading about the racial gap in STEM. And then I found it's a few professors. There's one at University of Michigan who are writing about Black girls, who are researching Black girls in STEM, in mathematics specifically. And when I found their work, I was like, oh, okay, this is a real issue. This is not just, now it's no longer anecdotal. It's not just my personal experiences with my students. Like, this is a problem. So never one to shy away from a good pun or play on words. I was like, I think I'm going to call it Black Girl Math Chick. And that's how it was born. So it was, that was 2018. I left my full-time job at the Belle Isle Conservancy as Director of Community Engagement at the end of 2018, with the blessing of my wonderful spouse and support of my wonderful spouse. And then I launched in 2019. So we just celebrated 1 year in July. Yay! And we have shipped, my mom's clapping. We have shipped over 1,200 boxes to over 35 states. We shipped to Canada last month, which was exciting. And we've shown hundreds of little girls and even some boys that they have what it takes to perform math at a high level, to enjoy math, to know that math is cool, to know that math is fun, and to reshape how they interact with mathematics. So that's the origin story, shortened version, even though that was still kind of long. But my Detroit upbringing, and I did DAPSEP, Girl Scouts. My mom had me in all this stuff. So DAPSEP before STEM was a thing. So I really owe and am indebted to my Detroit upbringing and my DPSCD education, really for setting the stage for this. And the more I get into this work, the more I think about, I'm like, man, it's just so interesting how bad of a rap we still get. I'm like, it was some really good stuff came out of growing up in Detroit. I'll just leave it at that.
Clearly some great things came out of growing up in Detroit. You, Sierra, that we just interviewed before you came on. And I really want to get into something you said about moving past the anecdotal and into the research, and not to get too heady, on people with statistics and, the scholarly journals. Yes. However, we do have to acknowledge that disproportionately, just across the board, what passes for education for African American students, and when we even bring it down to girls, the lack of representation in engineering, science, chemistry, because I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Madam C.J. Walker was one of the best that ever did it, because that's still chemistry. You're talking about chemicals for the hair and those parts. That's still chemistry. But even with these the examples that we do have to point to, if you can just share with us some modern examples, because in your subscription box, you also highlight a different Black female mathematician. So if you can share with us who's up for this month, and some of your standouts, because I know there are so many.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to try to go through this really quickly. So up for this month, I'm so excited, particularly because this woman, her actual job title at her job is mathematician. Like, that's her job. That's the name of her title. So her name is Olivia Wilkins. She is in Texas. She graduated from Texas Christian University, I think about 5 years ago. So I don't even think she's 30 yet. With a bachelor's degree in math, and she's working on her master's in data analytics right now. I think she just started. She is her job, mathematician at Lockheed Martin. So her job is so cool. So basically, what she does is she creates math models and projections to make sure that the planes that they deliver to their customer, in this case, the military, they create aircraft for the military, that those planes go to the military without defects. So they can't have no mistakes. They got to go to the military perfect. Can't be no windows drilled on the wrong way, or, no door put on the wrong way. So she uses math to make sure these planes, right, are delivered to the customer perfectly. When I found her, I don't even remember how I found her. It must have been on Google or something. And I was like,
say her name one more time so we say her name one more again.
Her name is Olivia Wilkins.
Olivia Wilkins, and her job is mathematician.
She's the only one in Texas at that Lockheed Martin, that particular location. Mathematician at Lockheed Martin Aeronautics, big, huge global company. Here's this young Black woman using all kinds of math. Her job is like very complex. When I was interviewing her, I was like, okay, how am I going to make this palatable for like 10-year-olds? But we're doing airplane math this month. So we're doing, like, she told me, because I always ask my mathematicians, like, what kind of basic math do you use in your job? So she uses like averages. She says she uses the order of operations, probability. So we're doing probability this month. We're doing averages. We're doing kind of like measurements and weight, because airplanes, are very heavy. So we're doing all kind of stuff. So that's this month. And then in terms of our standouts, I'm going to narrow them down based on 2 criteria, because I feel like they're all standouts, but for the sake of time. So I'm going to mention our 2 pioneers, the women that paved the way. These women are, one's 89, one's 91. And then the 3 that we feature from Detroit. So I think that's important to shout out. So the first 2 are pioneers. Of my very first box feature Dr. Gladys West. Dr. West she'll be 90 in about 2 weeks. She was the mathematician whose calculations helped invent GPS. Literally, and she worked for the military in like the 50s. So wasn't no computer. She was the computer, just like the Hidden Figures. She's a little bit younger than them, but just like the Hidden Figures, she was like one of those human computers who was like doing math by hand. And basically where her equations were, she was modeling the shape of the earth to help create the GPS. So she just started getting her roses on a national, international level about 2 years ago. So that's the first one. The second one is Dr. Gloria Gilmer, who I featured in February, and her box was called Love Your Hair, because Dr. Gilmer, who's 91, she was in the 80s studying the mathematics of hair braiding. So when I say studying the mathematics of hair braiding, Dr. Gilmer was up in Black hair salons in Harlem in the 80s, studying all that stuff, the triangle patterns, right? The perfect splits down the middle that hairdressers are so good at. The square, the box braids, all of that, the patterns, even when you're like braiding the hair, and what is that even called? So that in mathematics, those like overlapping patterns. So like when you think about tile in a bathroom, like the infamous pink tile in a Detroit bathroom, or just any type of print that's just continuous, that's called a tessellation. So it's a geometric term. And so she was studying the tessellations of hair braiding. So those are the 2 pioneers. And then the 3 we feature from Detroit, and funny enough, I did not do this on purpose, but it's a Cass King Renaissance trifecta in that order. The first one is Dr. Andrea Hairston, King graduate, 3 math degrees, 1 from Howard, 2 from Duke, PhD in math, works at Netflix as a technical program manager. So literally using math. And I mentioned this in her box. When you turn on Netflix and it says, because you like this title, you might like these other titles. That is an algorithm. That is an equation. I'm simplifying it, but that is an equation that is running based on your past behavior to predict what else you might want to watch. So that was our first one. Our second one, who was our August box, her theme was, Dr. Harrison's theme was movie night. She works at Netflix. Our next one was Amaris Evans, CAS graduate, also went to Eastern, majored in mathematics. She is in Chicago now. She teaches algebra, but she's also a certified yoga instructor. So what did we do? We did yoga. We were literally measuring the angles of yoga poses. Her box theme was relax, relate, release for my different world fans. So in addition to being a yoga instructor, she incorporates mindfulness practices into her mathematics classroom to keep, to help her students be calm doing math, to kind of really address that math anxiety. So she was like, I got the oils going, diffusing when they come in. We do breath work, like all of that in her math class. So that was our CAS graduate. And then last month was our Renaissance graduate, actually one of my classmates from Renaissance, Jessica Taylor. Jessica, I love Jessica's story because Jessica went to Michigan State, started out as a math major, but actually as she progressed at Michigan State in the math degree world, she started getting pushback from professors. Like, why are you here? What are you doing here? So she ended up switching to English, but she got a minor in math. So her bachelor's in English, her minor is in math. Jessica moved to Arizona and taught math. She taught high school math and English at the same time for 11 years. So how often do we hear that? And then she went back to school out in Texas and got a master's in library science. So now she's a librarian. So our theme was bookworm. Because guess what, children? There's a lot of reading in math class. And a lot of my students used to get so mad, when they felt like they had to read too much in math. Oh, why I got to write this math class? So we write every month in my box because I just need kids to see the connection. Like they're not separate at all. And another thing I'm noticing too is a lot of my students, their math vocabulary isn't where it needs to be. So they'll read the instructions to a worksheet and won't know what to do because they don't know what the math words mean. So if the problem is if the instructions say find the hypotenuse and you don't know what a hypotenuse is, you're not gonna be able to do it. So with her particular booklet, we did word searches with math vocabulary, we did crossword puzzles, and then we also talked about the math librarians use. Like they use a lot of math, contrary to what people might think. So those are our three Detroit folks.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, mama.
Right. I mean,
silly girl.
And I love mom too, because like mom is your best. Look, your mom is your best hype woman. Like I love going out seeing with the vendor table, and then mom is like, right,
she is the best hype woman. But I told my mother, she manifested this business. I told her I'm just doing the work, but I told her this is actually your business. I got my MBA. She was like, "Oh, you have an MBA now. Like, where's our business?" And I was like, "Mommy, everybody who gets MBA doesn't start a business." And she was like, "Okay, cool, but where's our business?" So I remind her all the time, I'm like, this your business, girl. This is what you manifested. But yes, she's a retired principal, Cass Tech graduate, Detroit K-8 charter school principal, founding principal, all that good stuff. So this is all right up her alley. And I have her to thank for passing on this love for educating children to me, even if I didn't end up in a traditional classroom.
Yeah,
listen, we are all teachers, and when it comes to our children, every last one of us are teachers.
That is very true.
We help shape and influence and vision with. I mean, holding the vision when they can't hold it for themselves. Historians, because we have to come in checkers. Yeah, we have to do that.
Right.
And I remember our first I think it was our second, because we both came into entrepreneurship, I think full time, kind of around in and around like the same time. And it was a cold day. I think it was like in January, February. It was like cold.
Yes.
And we just talked about all the things. And I was getting hyped just listening to you talk about it. I was just getting hyped, like, yes! Like, do it. And, to see you where you are now and what you have just unleashed and unfolded for our girls, girl, just get it.
Thank you, dear. You better stop.
Yeah, very good.
Yes. Thank you.
You better stop, because look, don't stop, because in all of it.
Hey, you got
And,
you stop. I heard Diddy in my head.
Yeah.
He used to always say, "I thought I told you that we won't stop."
Right? Don't stop.
I've been hitting that Diddy bop real quick.
Look, take that.
Yep. I mean, that's how I feel.
We'll do my Detroit shake over
these
here.
boxes to these girls. I'm like, take that, because you tried to say math don't have no real world application. I'm about to show you every single month. And even girls who perform well in math, many of them still have math anxiety, like high math anxiety. Like they could have straight A's and still be like, I don't like it. I'm not good at it. And I'm just sitting there like, where I got to really dig into this mindset. Like I really have to, because if you really fundamentally believe you're not good at something, you're not going to engage in anything related to it. So we're closing the door not only on STEM, architecture, on accounting and finance, on that's STEM, but all of these other math heavy careers. It's not just about STEM. It's about our girls having the confidence and the skill, because you can't have one without the other. You need both, though. Having both so that they're not leaving money on the table, and so that they can design the life that they deserve and have everything available to them in their toolkit. That's what it's really about.
Good job.
Absolutely. Look, I love Mom.
Be a man.
I love Mom. Back there just cheering you on. But we just want to acknowledge you, Brittany, for the work that you have done, that you continue to do. You every time I talk to you, you educate me. I'm like, let me get her name, because let me write this name down. Like, who is she? Because it's just so important, especially like you said, with the math anxiety. I still suffer from it. I think I have math trauma.
Oh yeah, it's a thing.
I have math PTSD. Yeah, it is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
It is so a thing. And I feel like many girls, I went the route of English and social studies and literature and language. But math, I was like, miss me with that. On the very thing. And you and I joke about this all the time. But how am I having a version? And I told the kids, like, how you gonna not like something you created? Like, you invented math.
Yep.
And they're gonna have the nerve to not like it.
Because
and I had to
Brenda reminded me that actually the first known people to do mathematics were the Egyptians. So math originated in the continent of Africa. Like it's literally our subject. And we, by and large, are the ones getting the shortest end of the stick. We're getting the lesser access to high quality math classes, algebra, higher level algebra, and pre-cal and calculus. We're the ones who are being tracked more. So being put, oh, you're in B class or you're in A class. Kids know what that means. So if you tell me in third grade that I'm in the lower level math class, what is that going to do up here? It's not going to work. Now I got it fixed in my head that I'm just not good at this, and I can never be good at it. So Black folks, we're Black and brown, because Hispanic is some glaring data about the Hispanic population as well when it comes to mathematics. We're not getting the full high quality math experience we deserve. And like you said, Brenda, like it originated in Africa. So how Sway? We gotta fix that. We gotta fix it.
Brenda, do we have time for one little question?
Yes, please.
Okay. Brittany, my vision for you expands beyond the sky. When they say, oh, the sky is the limit, I'm thinking Mars. I'm thinking the entire solar system. But what do you see for Black girl math chick? Like, where do you see it evolving into?
That's a great question because I've been thinking a lot about that, especially applying to offer all these grants and pitch competitions. And I'm like, what is your vision for your company? So, yeah, it never was designed to just be a subscription box. Depending on how much time I have and who the audience is, I'll sometimes define it as what it really is, which is a movement. And the box is just our first product. So I am literally in the middle. I've written partially about 4 children's books about mathematics. So children's books are next, but again, centering Black and brown children as the stars and the heroines in those books, the heroes and the heroines. So children's books, we actually launched for our 1-year anniversary. We did a digital coloring book of all the first 12 mathematicians we featured. So it's online at our website, blackgirlmagic.com. It's like $5. So more of that, activity books, coloring books. We are thinking too about doing a boy box. That actually was a goal for this year, but then COVID hit and it just, our priorities shifted. Although boys can enjoy the box as it is now, because like I always say, the themes and the math are gender neutral. Like we don't really do anything that's so girly, that a boy would feel some type of way about getting a box. But we are trying to work on something where, it's a little boy on the front instead of a little girl. So we're working on that. And then the biggest thing, our biggest goal for 2020 and onward is to partner with schools, districts, and youth serving organizations, because the box is $39.95. So we understand that not every family has the means to access that. So my mom, of course, having been an educator, she was like, oh, we need to do clubs at schools, because she had clubs at her school. It was her idea. And also do bulk orders. And so right before, literally like the day before school closed in March, it was crazy. We shipped our largest bulk order to the East Orange School District in East Orange, New Jersey. They ordered 200 movie night boxes. And we were so excited, like, yes, we kicking off our B2B. We about to be at all the schools. And then COVID. So now that school is back in session and there's kind of, we still trying to figure it out, but it's not as bad as crazy as it was in March. We're looking to reconnect with schools, with nonprofits, with youth serving organizations. We actually just did another bulk order of 60 boxes for an organization in Alabama, a girls STEAM organization. So we're looking to do a lot more of that, because that's really where the scale is going to come in. And at the same time, we'll be able to serve so many more children. And I've had people ask, because the box is 100% screen free. So you do not need any type of computer or technology. For a child can have a full experience with the box without a screen, for 2 reasons. I feel like most kids are over screened. The ones I'm around are over screened. But I also think growing up in Detroit and understanding the digital divide so intimately, I didn't want to create a product out the gate that, only favored those who had access to technology. So that's why it's screen free. But, people have asked, like, have you ever thought about offering like a digital subscription or an app or some sort? And I think in the longer term, we will do something like that, especially because I haven't quite figured out how the international shipping is going to work. The customer who ordered from Canada, it took 2 weeks, COVID and just, going across the border. And she was like, I can't wait that long, so I'm going to have to cancel. But hopefully, in the future, I'll be able to rejoin you. So if we want to reach an international audience, which we do, having a digital option, and while we figure out what international shipping looks like, could be something to explore as well. But the biggest thing we're focused on right now is getting into the schools. We actually had also met with DPS right before everything happened. We were going to do some workshops with the Parent Academy. We were going to do 3 of them actually with the Parent Academy. So that, and then just continuing to present and share our work. We've presented so far at 4 professional development summits for teachers, virtual summits. We presented at the Mid-School Math Conference in New Mexico at the beginning of March, again, like right before everything shut down. So just positioning ourselves as a leader in providing math confidence experience products and services for kids with a focus on Black children and girls. That's really what we see. So as you said, Robin, the sky is the limit. It's just kind of figuring out like where to start first. I'm really excited about the children's books because I loved to write as a kid. I just like school. Like really, I was kind of a nerd. Like I just like to learn. So I used to write like poems and little short stories when I was in school. In high school, I was on yearbook and newspaper. So again, I want to be a model for kids. Like you don't have to pick. Like you can like math and really enjoy writing. You can be a writer. You can be a strong writer and a strong math person. So I'm really excited about getting those on the market. And getting addressing, because that's another thing. A lot of the event Brenda and I were at, it seemed like everybody who came to the table had 3-year-olds. They were like, oh, my daughter's too young, she's 3. And I'm like, we got to figure out what we're going to do for the younger babies. So the children's books is one. And then for the holidays, the last thing I'll say, for the holiday this year, I'm working on a K-2 holiday bundle for kindergarten through 2nd grade, because I know some of my babies, you know, they get their box and then little sister is looking like, well, where's mine? So we're going to be doing something for the holidays for the younger babies as well.
Oh, Brittany, thank you so much for joining us today, and God bless everything that you are doing, because it is amazing and it is so needed. So ladies and gentlemen, please check out her amazing math subscription. You can go to her website, Black Girl Magic. Is it mathgirlmagic.com? I'll make sure I'm getting it right.
That's it. That's the new website.
Get your subscription. That's the new website. So again, on behalf of the Power of Girlhood, Motorcycle Women Network, we love you.
I love you guys.
And we cannot wait to, you know, hear about you on Mars and the next nebula and all the unknown galaxies. We're gonna Star Trek warp speed you. Thank you
thank you so much for your support over this past year. Thank you so much. We so appreciate you. As you can tell, my mother in the background.
I love you all so much.
Yeah. Yes, you did. Yes. Love you guys.
Love you too. Thank you so much. And we'll see you soon.
See you soon.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Robin, I am just so moved by
I just love her so much.
I just love her and her mom. Like, I love the tag team.
And her mom. Oh my gosh.
Her mom is everything.
Usually when I see Brittany, her mom is right there with, okay, do you need a pen or do you need, sign up on our mailing list?
Her hype woman, like, she is there.
Mom is like, we doing this. We doing this.
Multi-generational.
Yes.
And speaking of multi-generational, I believe that we have the Dumbia sisters on.
Yes.
Hi. Oh my goodness. Navinto, it's been forever. It is so good to see you.
It has been. How are you?
I am so good. I am so good. So these, like, oh my goodness, when I talk about activism, community, faith, fearlessness, like, I am just consistently inspired by the whole Dumbia family. But Nubintu and her sister Fanta are here. So let's just get right into it. So Nubintu is a oh my goodness. So Asita is a Power Girlhood girl. So this is like a whole family thing. In fact, Asita, your picture came up in my memory the other day. Yes, it was like she just struck a pose, like camera was on, and she was like, and it's here. And so this the whole family of just activists, community organizers, faith influenced and informed. I mean, just so awe-inspiring. And so Nubintu is actually a law student and community organizer. So at Georgetown Law, she serves as president of the Muslim Law Students Association, where she works to center the needs of Muslim students on campus and ensure that their interests are being represented at the administrative level. She has worked as an organizer with the Muslim American Society, both national and Detroit local chapter, the Islamic community of As-Salam, Wayne State University, Muslim Students Association, and has served as the former director of the Detroit Muslims Interscholastic Tournament Region. Through these experiences, Nabintu has been able to develop and strengthen a mentorship niche for youth and young adults. And in 2017, she co-founded the Sisterhood of Yerlon with her older sister, Fanta Dumbia, and inspired the Mandinka philosophy, which translates knowledge of self. The community organization works to foster connections rooted in shared community, spirituality, health, and wellness. Their target audience is young West African Muslim women, with Black Muslim women more generally, and the larger Muslim community on a global scale. So welcome, Nabintu.
Thank you.
And then, of course, last but certainly not least, I want to introduce everyone to Fanta, who is a Detroit native and daughter of two of Ivorian immigrants from the Ivory Coast, West Africa. She has a passion for mental health, community, and community activism. And Fanta has been active in her community since she was 16 years old. Fanta received her master's in social and clinical social work from the University of Michigan, Ann Arbor. And at the School of Social Work, she studied new leaders and African-centered social work scholars, where she was trained in practices and gained knowledge for full culturally responsive social work practice, and with African American communities. Currently, she works as a clinical social worker at the Flint Community Schools with special needs education. She also works part-time as a clinical therapist at WBC Counseling Services for individuals who have endured traumatic brain injuries. Fanta knew that mental health profession was her calling and is always passionate about mental health. And in 2017, again, the sisters co-founded a community initiative called Sisterhood of Yerelon. The sisterhood is impacting the community at large, and dare I say, the world. And Fanta identifies in the intersections of young Black, African, Muslim American women who were born and raised in the States, but carry their immigrant experiences. Through the experiences of sisterhood, Fanta's mission is to end the cycle of identity crisis among young West African Muslim women by creating an authentic, safe space that allows for them to explore and embrace all their intersecting identities. So, ladies, welcome.
Thank you. We're so excited to be here. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Absolutely. So we're just going to go ahead and get into this thing, because one of my favorite approaches to this work is intersectionality. Why is it so important to you that we wear all of our identities? And either one of you can take that, but why is it so important that we wear all of our identities?
I believe it is really important for us to be able to explore all of our identities and become comfortable and learn how to wear them in our skin, so we can be able to navigate in all of the spaces. Where when I'm in a space, I don't have to choose when I need to be Black. When I'm in a space, I don't have to choose when I need to be a Muslim. When I'm in a space, I don't need to choose when I need to be woman enough or not too feminine. It needs to be all intertwined, where when I'm in that space, you understand that I am a Black. Or is that us or you guys? Okay.
No, that's me.
You good. I am a Black Muslim woman, and this is present, and I am proud of that, and I am happy to wear. I'm happy to flaunt it, to be a Black Muslim woman. Not because usually, as being a Black Muslim, when I get in non-Black spaces, I'm always aware of the first thing they see before they see my scarf or give me the greetings of faith is my Blackness. So for me to be able to wear it as a sense of pride and not a sense of, oh my God, I'm sticking out, rather more so like, wow, this is me, and I am proud to wear this all on my sleeve. Yeah, no, I think
my goodness.
I think, yeah, Fanta pretty much covered it, but really just like this idea, I think it's the exact idea that Kimberly Crenshaw talks about, right? This idea that if we don't allow ourselves to exist at the intersections of identity, then we sort of, conflate our struggles, which doesn't make sense because then we miss a lot of things, right? This is something that even like Black women saw during the civil rights movement, right? Like a lot of times Black men would ask Black women, like, can we deal with like the Black issues first and then we'll deal with the women issues? And then Black women were like, no, we can't actually. Like, we need to do all of them at the same time. And then, of course, with white feminism, you had the opposite. You had white women wanting to like promote womanhood and like, let's like focus on like these issues. Let's try to like gain like the right to vote. But then, of course, like Black women were not being equally centered within those movements and within those struggles, right? So I think like that's like the main idea, right? If we don't center intersectionality, then we sort of, the natural course of these, of like a lot of really great work that's being done is erasure. We erase so many people's experiences, which is extremely dangerous, I think, for the larger movement.
Oh my goodness. So yes, we have to uplift Kimberly Crenshaw, who coined the phrase intersectionality, noted scholar, phenomenal brain and thought leader when we talk about intersections. And I'm glad that both of you brought up the necessity of wearing everything that we are. And yes, when we talk about movement work, that caught between a rock and a hard place. Yes, Black men want us to talk about the Black issue, and then white feminism didn't necessarily invite us in to the conversation. So we had to come with our own bullhorn and say, here I am, and here are all of me, and here are our issues that impact our community. And, especially when I'm, even on this platform, like, Robin, I'm sure you can share with us even a bit too about being a Black woman in the podcasting space, like the voice, space. Do we have a seat at the table? And it feels like consistently, and I want you ladies to talk about, you all founded organizations, and that's no easy feat. So if you can share more with us about not just having a seat at the table, but you both decided that, no, I'm going to create my own table. And maybe I'll invite you to sit with us, if you respect the sovereignty of this space. So please share with us more about what was the thought process behind creating your organization and some of the goals of it.
Do you want me to go? Do you want me to start, or do you?
I can go.
Okay.
So first thing we thought about was like, for us, by us. We were sitting there thinking about, reflecting about our healing, the healing that we needed when we were young African girls and experiences that we had, and wanted to like Brenda, you read off, to break that cycle of, we don't want the younger girls after us to have to go through those same things for you to get to where we're at. Like, if we can break that cycle now and focus on our healing now, then that's what we need to prioritize. And by doing that, we know these experiences, we're studying these professionally as well. So we're going to provide these for our people and not sugarcoat it. And oftentimes as women, and specifically as Black women, we start to feel guilty, as in like, oh my God, when we start to think about inclusiveness, like, are we being too exclusive because of X, Y, and Z? But we're like, we're going to prioritize our healing and our growth.
Yeah, for sure. And so with that in mind, like, we have ultimately three focus areas, right? So the first is identity, right? We really believe that something very powerful and very beautiful happens when people of shared identities and shared lived experiences, as a result of those identities, are able to come into a space and feel comfortable opening up about those experiences without necessarily having to feel like they have to validate them. They have to legitimize them before someone can empathize with them, right? But ultimately coming into these spaces and knowing like, oh yeah, you knew that, you know what I'm talking about, right? Like, you experienced that as well, right? Whether it's experiences of, misogyny, and like within the patriarchy and things of that sort, right? Like, so that's like a good example of something that, for us and for the young women that we target, is something that we want to explore in the context of not only like, American society, but also within like our cultural experiences and how we sort of like navigate those two things and how they can be tricky. The second thing is religion and spirituality.
And it was extremely important for us to combine these two components. We think that a lot of times, especially where, and this is the case for us with our target audience, a lot of us were like born Muslim. And so as a result of that, a lot of us kind of have to like look for and find God again for ourselves, and really just like accept religion for ourselves, and not have it be something that was just like given to us and something that we just naturally do because like we were taught to do it. And so we think that that is a balance in both of those things, right? Religion, this idea of like faith and believing in God, but also like there's another piece of it where you actually feel connected to God, right? And it's not only just like these mundane practices. And then the third thing is health and wellness, right? And Fanta could probably like speak the best to this because this is obviously like her profession, but really just this idea that like I am my best self when I am whole, right? And when I am doing well physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, et cetera, right? And that fluctuates, right? It's not like this ideal picture that I draw for myself, but just really recognizing that I want to exist in a balance, and that looks like prioritizing all of these different components of myself.
Definitely. Well said.
I mean, all I can say is, wow. Robin, I don't know if you have a question, but I'm over here just processing, you know what I mean? Everything they just, did you hear those tears of existence? Again, I don't know that I even fully came into the awareness to maybe like 30. And then it still took more years to even articulate where you young women are like in your 20s. Mind blown. So as I'm picking my edges up off the floor, Robin, if you have, yeah, please.
Well, one thing that I'm always writing down notes, and, just writing down little phrases. And when you said how to navigate in all of the spaces and bringing every part of you and not having to feel like, okay, I need to downplay this part of me so that everyone else feels comfortable. It makes me think of the businesswoman, Carla Harris. I was at one of her talks, and she was talking about when she first was in the corporate landscape, she felt like she couldn't bring all of herself. Like she was there, she was buttoned up, she left being a woman, at the door, being a Black woman. And now she feels like when you bring your entire self, there's a higher likelihood to connect with people. That you don't feel like you have to, let me put this in a box now. Nope, I'm bringing everything to the table that encompasses who I am and what I value, and that there's strength in that. And that we should all feel that we shouldn't have to dilute ourselves or water ourselves down ever. And I know, like Brenda mentioned, I own a recording studio. I am one of a handful of women that own recording studios in the state of Michigan, and less than that of women of color that own a recording studio. And I can recall going to a meeting with my partner, who's a male, and the person who was leading the meeting turned to him and started addressing him as if he was the president of our company, but I am. So it was already assumed that I was there to take notes, or I was his assistant. And my partner said, you may want to address the president of our company, and she's sitting right there. I was the only woman in the room. So I understand when you said navigating all those spaces and bringing everything. Like, I don't feel like I have to be less of a woman just because I'm the only woman in the room. But it took me a while to get there. So to see, younger women than myself who you already get that, like I get that. Because if it's a table where I don't feel like I can bring my entire self, I need to stand up and go to another table. This isn't my table. So I applaud both of you. And especially I have daughters myself, getting them to understand that you don't need to pacify other people and try to make other people feel comfortable by lessening who you are and the strength that I know you have within you. So I love the work that both of you are doing. If that was just something that I wrote down, I was like, yes, navigate in all of the spaces There is no space that I don't belong. So
Super
I think
important.
we're
And
into, yes.
yes, I was like, okay, let me get myself together. Because I'm just, again, I think too, like you brought in another piece too about the immigrant story. And I think that, in our current, paradigm, when we talk about immigrants in North America, it's like the single focus, as if only immigrants come from Latin America. And then there's this I think this disparagement that get placed on being immigrant. And it's like, well, wait a minute, we read American history for just a percent, that none of us are indigenous to this land. If you can just share more about how important it is to even broaden the narrative around immigration, and then what are the impacts of being children of immigrants, and what is the some of the nuances of navigating the immigrant experience in American society from your perspectives?
Yeah, definitely. No, thank you for censoring this. This is extremely personal to us, of course. For those who, might not be familiar, just probably like a lot of people, I don't think we're like famous or anything. Our father was detained and eventually deported to Cote d'Ivoire, West Africa in 2018. And that was like a long and hard battle that our family fought tooth and nail. And we believe that Allah or God is the best of planners. Like I think like you really hit the nail on the head, Brahinda, right? Like a lot of times people tend to forget that Black immigrants exist at the intersection of Black Lives Matter and Stop Separating Families, right? Like we are simultaneous, like when we are, trying to stop the privatization of prisons, for example, we're doing that while keeping in mind that like we are disproportionately targeted for drug crimes, but we're also disproportionately targeted for crime-related detention, right? And like, and so I think that's a really good point. And for us, I mean, like the way that we center this is really just a big piece of this is again identity. For a lot of people, ourselves included, Vanta spoke a little bit about just identity crisis. We sort of grow up just like right, like you sort of grow up in this dissonance where you're like, all right, clearly I'm Black. I can see that. But when I'm home, I don't know, like something else is happening. Like you're talking to me in a different language. I'm eating with my hands. I don't know, And so there's really there's just really so much that's happening, so many cultures. And I think that for a lot of us, like that struggle was kind of like, all right, I'm just going to be two different people. Like that just really seems to be what would be the, what will make the most sense and what is easiest. I'm going to go to school and I'm just going to identify as Black American. That's just what's easiest. I'm going to act like I don't speak another language. When my mom tries to pick me up, when my dad tries to pick me up in a taxi, I'm going to tell him like, park a couple blocks. I'm going to meet you there. And then when I go home, like I will just be like this, like perfect, whatever, like African child that you envision for me to be, who wants to be a doctor, immigrant parent. And so so there's so many of those experiences and those realities that really come into the spaces that we have been able to build. And really people just talking about how like that's still a struggle, right? Even right now when so many different conversations are happening around like immigration and things of that sort, right? Like a lot of times just as Black immigrants, you really just have to realize that it's truly a struggle, right? Like, and a lot of times you're forced to, it's almost as if like you have to choose which side you're on. And then you're kind of left like with grappling with the fact that like, I mean, I'm on every side. Like I have everything is at stake. I have everything to lose, right? So one thing that I think about is how when I'm thinking about like a protest, going to a protest, or when someone approaches me to do an interview at a protest, I'm immediately like thinking like I do have anxieties about like someone looking my name up, attaching me to a community that is made up predominantly of undocumented people and rating my message. Like that's something that I have to sit with. And that's like an anxiety that I feel, right? And so it's kind of like different things of that sort that I think that you sort of think about and you don't think anyone else can relate to, but then we sort of try to like facilitate different, I think, discussions and activities to bring those things out into those spaces and have those sorts of conversations.
And then Binta, you said two important things that I just want to highlight. As we're exploring, like, what does it mean to be
a Black person with, Black immigrant identities, right? Experiences. It makes you think, it facilitated a lot of our healing about what is Blackness. Like, is it only, one way of Blackness, or, am I Black enough, or am I African enough, and whatnot? And being able to navigate within our Blackness as well. Many discussion as in like, but when my friends at schools, I don't feel like I'm Black enough. When I'm with my aunties and my uncles, I don't feel like I'm African enough, and things of whatnot. So really looking at, it brought into our Blackness. So what is Afro-Arab? What is, the Caribbeans? What is the Dominicans? What is Afro-Latinas and Arabs and things of whatnot, for us to be able to understand also our Blackness and be able to not have one type of Blackness, but be able to embrace all and think about the beauty of the diaspora, right? And then you talking about the tiredness, we will always talk about the intersectional fatigue. Like, okay, all right, we have so many of our non-Black brothers and sisters who are talking about immigration, who are talking about this, but ain't at the Black Lives Matter protests. And you like, bro, I'm tired. And then you got people in your community, you up here like, well, I support the travel ban, the Muslim ban, and things like that, because they're like, yo, these Arabs always do that. And you're like, yo, dog, my daddy is an undocumented immigrant. So it's like always trying to navigate and get pulled out, and you just feel really, really tired. And that's why we needed that space. We needed that space where we don't feel guilty and put down others' experiences, where we all have these specific experiences where we're able to heal and just be able to release. And yeah.
And you can keep saying healing. And I mean, I really want to presence the word healing, and we can put that word on repeat, like Pee-wee's Playhouse, like promo healing, like everybody just go crazy when we hear healing, because there's so much. Yes, healing, I think, of our communities, in the sense of the us fitting in the dominant culture, but just even some of the rifts. And if you can even speak to that, how do we heal the wedge that has been driven between African Americans and Africans? It's so hurtful to me, because we know that colonizers came in and put this wedge between us. And however, we can't continue to blame the colonizer for coming in and driving this wedge. So how do we stand in the gap for each other and understand that we are one blood, we are one body? I may not be able to speak the language that I would be speaking about if I were in Africa, but that still doesn't separate us because of my inability. We're still one. So if you can even speak to how we can start healing that rift.
Yeah, absolutely. This is something, I mean, just a never ending conversation. This conversation Vance and I are having all the time, literally every single day, it seems like. I think the first thing that comes to mind for me in line with practicing empathy is really just dialogue. I don't think any authentic dialogue is happening. I don't think spaces are created for this. I think a lot of these are happening sort of like just like in silos, right? And we kind of are talking about like how we feel. And of course that's important. We need to be able to articulate that. But a lot of times, like being able to get into a space and talk to each other, I don't think happens, at least like not that I'm familiar with, to be completely honest. I think that that's such a huge point, right? I think that if people can sort of really just open ourselves up to the idea of having to be vulnerable in these spaces and really just acknowledge like pain that's at the center of so many things, then I think a lot of very powerful and ultimately very like beautiful dialogue can happen, which I think would solve, or at least begin to allow us to think about how to solve so much.
Yeah. Fonza, please add any thoughts that you have. Because healing.
It's not much. I think like when Vince and I, when we're always talking about this, we're just like wishing and hoping for us to finally create a space, and we're just talking about dialogue for us to be able to just again pour and release, to be like this is my experience as a Black American in America, feeling that my Black Africans don't want me, feeling that my Black Africans think X, Y, and Z. And this is my experiences as a Black immigrant, with this society always having us, the conflict theory, as in like, you at the bottom, but you're going to be at the top and stuff like this in this specific group. And being able to heal, and for us to recognize what this system, what the society have done to us, and being able to, I don't want to make it long, but being able to talk about those experiences so we can see what is actually doing us, and so much we can do when we're together, when we're united, when our healing is all prioritized, when it's literally Ubuntu, right? I am because we are. We really need to bring the concept of Ubuntu back. It's like, because we're crying on so many issues and areas.
Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. More. Yes, because Robin and I talk a lot about being empathic, being highly sensitive and being affected by, the energies and being, drained. But we also talk about the need for, as community, like women need community. Like we do better when we're in a collective versus like you said, like these siloed like conversation. It's like I'm over here crying in the dark, but it's like, hey, but you're crying in the dark. Too. So what would it look like if we, were, and I think you hit the nail on the head with the biggest piece, which is the most impactful piece, vulnerability. Like if I can take down all of my guard and disarm myself and allow you to see me cry, to see me upset, and not all polished and perfect, and the running joke within the African American, and I'm sure it exists in Black communities, period, the code switching. Like I have to put on my white girl accent when I'm on the phone or when I'm speaking in public, and then this other identity that I am, behind closed doors. So if you can speak to, from your perspectives as a Black African Muslim, like what does code switching look like for you? And I don't believe that code switching necessarily works because you can't disarm like who you are. But what does code switching look like in your community?
It's interesting because in the when you're studying mental health, right, they tell you like you should know how to like but that's a concept that I actually did like when I was studying the Afrocentric perspective about the tool of code switching, meaning that being aware of like the privileges you walk in with, being aware of like the uncomfortability you may walk in, especially with the stigma that we have on mental health. But when we utilize the term code switching, it was just like remembering like where you're from in your community, not because you're coming in like, okay, I am the therapist here, but like being able to speak to your people the way to get to this message of healing to your people the way, but not like because the DSM said this type. It's like, yo, sis, like in that type of way, but I'm not making an assumption. It was like, I don't want to make you feel uncomfortable. You thinking that I'm better than you because I studied this test, but I want you to understand, like, sis, I had to get to this path too. When I talk to my clients in my community, I had to get to this path too. And I knew that this path was so important to my people. And I am all about my people healing. So I want to do this work with you. And then oftentimes it does switch, right? But that is the benefit of it when I understand it from the Afrocentric or the Black psychology perspective. But the draining perspective, as in when you're trying to navigate all these societies, is it's like, I want to sound Muslim, Allah, mashallah, alhamdulillah, and all this type of stuff. You want to put a little spike of Arabic in every single type of thing, and that becomes the draining. Always, and with my experiences, the code switching in non-Black communities, always trying to find a way to feel like I'm Muslim enough to show you guys that I'm Muslim enough and not just, just Black. And then also my experiences in grad school, just showing because I'm walking in, because of my name, Fanta Dumbia and this scarf on my head, just trying to always show that I'm Black enough. And sometimes like, yo, I don't even talk like that. Like, yes, I got a little slang to it, I don't talk like this. It's like, you know, so it's always like, I will always have to call an event. So like, you know, am I not being me? I just want to be me. When I'm in my space with my Black brothers and sisters, I don't feel like I'm Black enough because I got this scarf on my head. When I'm in my space with my non-Black Muslim brothers and sisters, why do I feel like you know, so it becomes draining when you feel like you have to code switch in X, Y, and Z to fit in, where when you're able to take it back as a professional code switching because you want your people to feel on the same level. Because I never want my people who I'm serving to ever feel that I am above them, but I'm on that level with you. So
And Robin, I see you doing a lot of nodding and amen and over there. So please, Robin, add. Oof, this is so good.
Well, I just resonate with that sense of code switching and showing up as your authentic self. And it makes me think of a quote from Maya Angelou when someone asked her for the definition of success, and success being, you know, loving what you do and how you do it. So it may be different from the status quo, but this is success to me, and this is what success looked like. And I think for a lot of people, not feeling the pressure to code switch comes after they've gone through like some self-realization, and you have to have the confidence to no longer code switch. You know, from a personal standpoint, you know, I've been in business for 5 years now. And, you know, now that I know, I'm very clear on not only who we're serving, but why and who I am and my role in it. You know, my family is from the South and we say y'all. And I remember I wouldn't say y'all because I was like, oh, people are going to think that I am not educated, or that's just a little bit too casual. But in my family, y'all is a term of endearment. Hey, y'all. Hi, y'all. Love y'all. And, you know, and so now I don't care what skin color you are, what socioeconomic status you are. If you are in our studio, which is an extension of me, I want you to feel welcome. And this is a part of me. This is, you know, how I greet. And so, you know, that really resonated with the fact of the code switching. But that could be a whole another hour just on code switching.
right.
But believe me, when to, when not to, when do you feel pressure to? And I think that's a conversation a lot of people in school unfortunately have to go through, where it's like, oh, well, I need to speak, I need to, you know, button up, and I need to look like I belong in order to you know, to feel welcome. But it's when you get to a certain point in your own sense of self where you're saying, no, this is me, this is how I'm showing up. And you know, I say y'all, but I also have 3 degrees. So don't equate y'all with being Southern or unlearned or you know,
Whatever.
uneducated or whatever you want to associate it with, because I am that. And I'll always be proud that my family is from the South and that we have those Southern roots. Because to me, it just means something different from a lot of people. But you know, that code switching thing is something that I know comes up a lot.
Yeah, so much.
I just
want to, yeah, Robin, thank you so much for that. And ladies, you know, I do want to be respectful of your time, but we just wanted to acknowledge you and your work. And because we're celebrating the International Day of the Girl, I think it really is important for us to honor all of the identities, and you all just embody so well, so many different identities, so many complex identities. And, you know, just, I remember when I was like, you're right, I think I was like functionally depressed. Like, I don't know how I got through any of my 20s, because nothing, you know, like you said, when you were talking about like religion and spirituality, like some of the things that I learned, I began to challenge, because it's like, okay, do I believe this because it's what my parents said? Or do I believe this because I have a personal experience with this? And then, you know, when you are part of an ethnic family, it's like you do your family proud if you're a lawyer, doctor, engineer, an accountant, And then if you're going to be poor, be a teacher. So it's like if you can honor your family that way, but when you depart from like any of those things, and for me it was poetry. My mom was like, "Why are you telling all your business? You just get up here telling everybody your business." And I could imagine mental health. You are divulging some very personal things, and in our communities, it's like, shh. Let me tell everybody, we don't have problems. And you take Jesus, I guess you take him to Allah, and you don't talk to anybody else
Right.
about your about your problems. So I just want to thank you all for your radical honesty and your commitment to community, and just so beautifully wearing all of your identities.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for having us. I've attended International Day of the Girl before. Asita has as well. It's just such a phenomenal event initiative. And thanks for having us. It was truly an honor.
Yeah, well, we will always have you. The Dumbias, you guys always have a home with us. We love you so much.
Love you all too.
Thank you guys so much.
Mwah. Take care. Bye.
Wowzer. You know what? You're going to have to let me know. How can I keep up with them? Is there like a list to subscribe to their organization? Because to be perfectly transparent, I would love to learn more about the immigrant experience. I don't know. And I think that's a muscle that I really need to work on.
Yeah, I could, I'm remiss. Yes, I will get information for you. But yeah, Robin, and for those people who are listening, so that's one of the things that we focus on wholeheartedly in the Power of Girlhood are all the identities that our girls wear. And we have, over the years with the Dumbia family and the Muslim community, have worked really hard to make sure that the amplification of the voice and the identities, and then the struggles, as the young ladies mentioned, back in 2018, I tried everything that I could in my own resources to reach out to help, keep their father in the country. And we put up a great fight, but ultimately, Allah, God, had a different plan. And so he was sent back. But it was just really important to, yes, talk about this narrative of immigration that we often do not talk about because we don't know about. And I think that's why it's so important for our girls to understand the world in the world context. And yes, you belong at every table that you want to sit at. And yes, if you need to create your own table, but understand the plight of your sister.
Right.
Like understand what your sister goes through and is going through, and how that intersects with the things that you're going through, because we're just better in community. So yes, Robin, I am right there. I will get you their information so that you can follow, and everybody here, so that they can see the work, how to get more involved in the work, because the crisis in Yemen didn't necessarily make news here in a big way. There might have been like a news blurb about it, something might have gone across the ticker, but to really understand the plight of what has happened and is happening in Yemen, you have to be adjacent to the community. So this is something that we all can benefit from and grow on as it impacts the whole, and especially us being empathic, everything.
Right.
The impact that we feel everything. we feel it. We feel it all. Yeah. But Robin, I just have to thank you so much for
it's my pleasure. I feel full, and I love when I feel like that, where it's like, this was just good soul food this Sunday afternoon. Yeah.
Exactly. It's a soulful conversation, authentic, real, and your body knows, your spirit knows when something is real and authentic and not contrived. And just all the young ladies that just showed up today, Sierra just hit it right out the park. So it was like, okay, so it's game time.
Right. Like, Sierra set the tone of like, one of the quotes that, she said was, be specific. Be specific in knowing that, it's already on its way. And the fact that you and I had just talked about
literally on Friday, we just had this conversation.
It's already on its way. So this is definitely confirmation. Yes, confirmation. And when she said that, I was like, yes, confirmation. I'm listening. I am at attention. I have reported to duty.
Yes. And then, tag team with Brittany and her mom. Like hearing mom co-sign in the background.
His mom. That's right, baby.
Yes, co-signing in the background. But because we both know her, but and so it's like we have this beautiful vantage point of seeing the evolution.
Yes.
Like just seeing the evolution and that obedience to the yes, because business owner, this isn't easy. This is not a cakewalk every day. And it was so interesting, Robin, that I actually had a conversation with a client, and we both, she brought something to my awareness. You got to move past motivation.
Girl, if you don't know, if you don't have that discipline beyond motivation, you shall fail. Because that motivation that's gonna wane off a bit after the 6th, 7th, 8th month. You're like, well, this ain't really turning out the way I had wrote down in my journal here. So you better, you have to learn how to do the things you need to do with sheer discipline. We don't talk about discipline and obedience enough.
Not nearly.
In the whole empowerment conversation.
That's right. That's right. We get caught up in the, you can do anything.
Yep, it feels good. Everyone's motivated.
Exactly. Just put your mind to it. And it's like, how am my mind tired?
Yep. and then coming to the realization that that's okay.
Yes.
That's okay, and I'm going to rest today, because that is as important, if not more important, because if you're tired, you cannot show up the way you need to show up. If you're tired, if you're anxious, if you're, because I know when I'm tired, I start getting short with people.
Yeah.
You don't want that. You don't want wrap it up. So I know I have to be rested so I can think clearly, and really be present. That's something I've been working on the past, I would say, couple of years, is when I am here with you right now. And there may be a ton of other things I need to do, but I will get to that after I'm here with you. And that's professional, that's personal, that's relationships, that's everything.
It's all of it.
It's all of it.
All of it.
And even with myself, my kids were with my mother the past 24 hours. So I became present with myself. So that meant, gosh, I really need to go in my girls' room and sort through their clothes. Nope, I'm not doing that. I need to spend some time with myself. And that's what I'm going to do.
I know that's right. But closing out with those amazing sisters,
yes,
work.
It is just gorgeous. It's beautiful. As soon as they popped up on the screen, when I say it's soul food, just like look at all of the hues, of the young ladies that we spoke with this afternoon. Look at all their different perspectives and their experiences. And it brings me so much joy to think of what they will go on to accomplish, who they will impact, whose mind will they spark.
That's right.
That's what really brings me joy. So thank you for inviting me to be part of this afternoon. This is a great way to start the week, end the week. It's just great.
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness. So much. So everybody, thank you all so much for tuning in. Please catch this on the replay. Check out, obviously, motorcitywoman.com.
Yes.
This is the International Day of the Girl, as sanctioned by the United Nations. So back in 2012, the United Nations said that we need to have a day where we solely focus on the issues that impact girls, the lives of girls, and how we want them to show up and commit to service and leadership and transformation. And the theme this year, which is so powerful, is my voice, our equal future. So that is saying everything at the intersection. Everything at the intersection. So
well, Ubuntu, exactly.
That
You better tie it all together.
okay.
That's exactly. I wrote that down. So I was like, yes, I am, because we are.
That's right.
We are.
That's right. And keeping that spirit alive. So I just want to thank everyone for tuning in. Robin, thank you so much for sponsoring us, for being champions for girls, me, the community at large. Just thank you so much for everything that you do. So please,
it is my honor.
Sow a seed into the power of girlhood. You can go to thepowerofgirlhood.org to learn more about who we are and what we do, and so that we can continue the work that we do. And check out Motor City Woman as well, because podcasts definitely will get your life together. You can binge them. You can tune into them there, but you can binge them. They're so good for you.
And there's so many that are hosted by young women as well. You know, that there's some out there that will shake up everything you thought was true, honey, about everything from climate change to social justice. It's out there, and that's what I love most about podcasting, is the low barrier of entry, and that there is no overarching authority. There's no one saying, yes, you can publish this, or no, that one can be published. Right now, it's totally open, and it's a global audience. You can listen to someone in India talk about things that you may be able to relate to. I'm sure you will.
That's right.
Ubuntu.
That's right. I know that's right. Like, if that's not the slogan, like, I didn't put that on a t-shirt. If that's not the hashtag, yes. So please, for those of you who are tuning into the replay, share this, repost it, bring it into your community, create a watch party on your page. It's another powerful amplifier. Create a watch party on your page. Send us comments. And yes, I'll get information on their amazing organization as well. And so thank you for helping to create an amazing International Day of the Girl 2020.
Yes.
Thank you.
Brenda, you did a wonderful job, even yesterday and today. I'm always in awe.
Thank you so much. I'm telling you, all I can say is hallelujah, amen, because God just comes in, shows up, shows out. Because I'm like, Jesus, take the wheel. Because sometimes I'm like, I can't.
Because I
can't.
Girl.
Uncle. Yes, but I am nothing without the amazing support of the community of women. Danielle, Courtney, who was our keynote speaker yesterday, our board members, I cannot say this enough. The power of girlhood is not a single person. You might see one woman up front, but it is powered by so many prayers and a community and a collective of women.
Ubuntu.
That's right. Right. That's it. That's the answer to everything. That is the answer to everything. So have a great evening. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great evening, everybody out there that tuned in. We'll see you soon. And Robin, go spend some more time with yourself, girl.
I sure am. That's exactly what I'm gonna do. I need to go get some pumpkins, and so I'm about to spend some time outside.
Oh, that sounds so good. Well, I'll see you soon, sis.
All right. Bye.
Bye.